Accelerated e-commerce, new tools, greater agility, and lower costs. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Tim Green. I am the Marketing Manager for Dunn Solutions Group, and I will be the moderator for this webinar. Our presenters today are Brett Hopkins, Director of Application Development for Dunn Solutions Group, and a longtime consultant and practice director with exceptional experience in app dev and e-commerce. Brett will handle the main presentation. And Teresa Velasquez, a longtime project manager for Dunn Solutions Group and one of the leaders of our fast-growing e-commerce practice. Teresa will take you through a working demo site we've built for this event and show you its top features and how they can help you meet customer expectations and generate greater revenue. Before we begin, I'd like you to look on the right-hand side of your screen and find the questions panel. At any time during the webinar, you may type a question, and we will answer them during the question and answer segment at the end of the presentation. Here is a look at our agenda for this one-hour webinar. We'll start by telling you briefly about Dunn Solutions Group. Then we'll review the challenges of building and maintaining e-commerce sites, discuss the highest value areas on which you should focus, talk about how technology has changed and how it offers you high-end capabilities for less, and then we'll show you how those technologies enable you to utilize best practices and maintain and grow your site on your own, followed by the wrap-up and Q&A. Here we go. Founded more than 20 years ago, Dunn Solutions Group is a full-service information technology consulting firm. We design, develop, and deliver a wide range of solutions using a variety of advanced tools, and we deliver those solutions worldwide through offices in Chicago, Minneapolis, Raleigh, Fort Lauderdale, and Bangalore, India. Our parent company is Cranes Software International, a Bangalore, India-based software and IT services corporation. Our offerings fall into three practice areas: application development solutions, which includes custom application development, portals, and, of course, e-commerce. Business intelligence, which includes end-to-end BI solutions, dashboards, reporting and analytics, predictive analytics, and other advanced BI capabilities. Packaged solutions, which include software and services offerings for specific vertical markets or to fill specific needs. And training solutions, which spans those three areas and includes classroom, on-site, and custom training, as well as jumpstart programs and one-to-one mentoring. Our clients include some of the biggest names in American business, many mid-market companies, as well as a large number of governments and government agencies. Here are a few of our customers, many of which you know. To offer our clients the most advanced solutions possible, we maintain close partnerships with industry-leading technology companies, including SAP Business Objects, Microsoft, Oracle, IBM, and others, including Able Commerce, whose technology we will feature later in the webinar. And now, I am going to turn the presentation over to Brett Hopkins. Brett?
Thanks, Tim, and thanks for everybody joining us today. I'm just going to accept my screen, and hopefully this will be showing up. So as Tim mentioned, today's agenda, we're going to be covering some of the challenges today building an operation and operating an e-commerce site, both from a technical point of view and also, just as importantly, an operational point of view. And then based on these challenges, some high-level points to focus on. Overall improvements in e-commerce technology over the past several years, and then some must-have features that consumers expect when shopping online, and also features that will also help drive revenue. And then finally, as Tim mentioned, a demonstration of an e-commerce site that Dunn Solutions Group created. It'll not only demonstrate these features, but shows you how easy it is to implement them with an administration feature. And then finally, we'll wrap up with a question and answer session. And with that, let's get started. Okay, so if you're new to e-commerce, or if you're even considering to update your current e-commerce platform, you'll understand that building an e-commerce site can be a very complex and challenging process. Generally speaking, there's certainly technical hurdles that you have to overcome, but just as important, there are customer challenges, especially around heightened expectations. So from a technology perspective, e-commerce sites tend to have a broad range in scope, and they contain much more complexity than a normal web application, or for that matter, a normal website. So to accommodate these technical demands, most companies rely on an internal staff which could include web designers, database administrators, software architects, web developers, marketing staff, etc. And if that's not challenging enough, retailers also have the challenging of accommodating very high expectations from their potential customers. You know, we live in a world today where information is provided instantly, quickly, either at our fingertips or most recently with our phones. So if the e-commerce site does not respond quickly or reflect current product offerings, then you're already kind of falling behind the competition. And it's really a tough act to follow given the implementation of these features from some of our very high-end retailers in the industry today. So one of the main reasons e-commerce sites tend to be more complicated than other kinds of sites is from a business process perspective. It needs to somehow, mimic our internal processes or practices within your company. And this really kind of presents a problem because some companies may not have or may not be very well organized with their internal processes, which makes it challenging to translate these to an e-commerce system because these tend to be tightly bound to a highly structured relational database. One interesting statistic is that when companies go through the process of building an e-commerce site, some companies realize these issues and then they need to come to grips with them internally. Additional technology challenges can arise from catalog structures. So when companies try to establish consistent categorization of products, inevitably they encounter products that may not really fit into their categories, or they have been defined for the site, or products that fit into maybe several categories. So given the dynamic nature of an e-commerce platform, you'll need a robust system to accommodate these types of cataloging features. Advanced pricing structures can also create technology challenges. It's amazing how many pricings and how many products change based on, subtle attributes or conditions. So for instance, a combination of certain search size or maybe, a non-standard color may change the overall price of a product. So translating this practice into an online structure requires a really flexible solution, as well as a really good intuitive administration feature to manage this information. And then finally, if you happen to resolve all these issues of maintaining this information hourly, weekly, or daily, it can really take a toll on an IT organization if you don't have a solution in place that allows non-technical people to make these updates and monitor the effectiveness of these updates moving forward. And like I mentioned before, given the overall acceptance of shopping online, there's a heightened sense of expectations regarding the overall functionality of an e-commerce site. Prior to the dot-com crash of 2000, the market was filled with businesses that wanted to sell products online. And at that time, companies invested their own money and realized that, online marketing wasn't as easily grabbed as they hoped. And additionally, the expensive and complex e-commerce systems that were hastily built, trying to keep up with the dot-coms, were extremely buggy and undependable. And many companies were seriously hurt, and their expectations were entirely unmet. But today the dust is mostly settled, and businesses are looking again for web opportunities to expand their market. The big players in the market still push the envelope in terms of features, and given the wide adoption of using the web for e-commerce, most of these features are now considered to be standard or norm and what the customer expects. And we'll talk about these in detail later in the presentation. So looking forward, adopting the widespread use of such technologies like mobile computing or social networking into your e-commerce site will be just as equally as important as, let's say, advanced pricing structures, which we just talked about. And while it's certainly possible, today to create a relatively simple and inexpensive e-commerce site, it's just not enough today in today's market to simply list products on your website and expect to do well or to compete. So maintaining growth online is certainly a goal. Like I mentioned previously, e-commerce in general is no longer just a trend. It's part of the online world, which is definitely here to stay. And these days, people use e-commerce sites from everything from holiday gifts to redecorating an entire room, possibly. It's popular, it's profitable, it's predominant on the internet, and given the explosive growth, Keeping up with the latest e-commerce trends is challenging, as these concepts change as quickly as the technology changes. Additionally, understanding what will keep your customers engaged with an online e-commerce site can be equally as challenging. So while a large number of customers in the US and Europe frequently shop on the internet, research on what drives consumers to shop online has typically been somewhat fragmented. Some high-level trends toward online shopping and intention to shop online are not only affected by ease of use, usefulness, and enjoyment, but also factors like maybe product characteristics, previously online shopping experiences, or more generally, just trust in online shopping. Additionally, the overall management of an e-commerce site is equally intimidating for some people, or possibly the tools to provide categorization of products or subcategorization of products is immature, or maybe they don't even exist at all. So being able to maintain product information, product categorization, promotions, as well as providing cross-sell and upsell capabilities quickly and easily is critical to implementing an effective e-commerce site. And then finally, understanding why users abandon shopping carts is one of the biggest challenges facing online retailers today. It's no secret e-commerce is a complex business, and the answer to shopping cart abandonment differs widely between sites, products, countries, and lots of other factors. But one fact remains untouched throughout these variations: your customers know why. So how does one go about asking them the right questions? Who are the users and how can they be reached? These are some of the questions website owners face when tackling these issues of shopping cart abandonment. So given the flood of online retailers, creating a unique experience for your customers is very important. To compete, e-commerce companies need to understand and take an active interest in the different types of users to your site, and most importantly, accommodate how they prefer to shop. This boils down to user experiences as well as personalization of the site based on shopping preference. So for instance, motivating factors for selecting a product for one consumer may be price, but for another it may be features. So providing the different types of navigation or search features for these types of consumers can differentiate you from another retailer. And then developing an innovative solution at the right time can also be challenging to most organizations, given the lack of IT resources, or having the market research to decide where to focus your attention. Given the recent explosion in social networking, as well as mobile computing in general, the question for most companies is, when do we decide to invest in these areas? And additionally, given that technology changes so quickly, how do we know what the next best thing is in technology, and where is it right around the corner? And then finally, most companies are currently relying on software platforms that were used way before online transactions became so critical to their business, and doing their best right now trying to keep up with the latest trends in e-commerce. So with all this in mind, the time might be right to consider the advantages of implementing an updated solution with features and capabilities that complement each other and to offer more control over the entire e-commerce lifecycle. Given the current economic situation when most companies are trying to do more with less, you don't want to invest time and money and energy into investing into an outdated solution to save maybe a nickel or a dime here, because there's the potential that it'll cost you in the long run. So moving to a new platform shouldn't involve maybe cobbling together a plethora of pieces, and it shouldn't have to be done every year. So with this in mind, let's take a look at some of the highest value areas to focus. So there's two different areas here. Within the organization, the highest value to improving an e-commerce solution can be summarized as follows: solutions that don't overburden your IT organization, and then a streamlined e-commerce platform. So I'm sure that it's obvious that putting fewer burdens on an IT organization with continual updates to either content or features can provide value to the organization. In today's market, technology resources could be much better utilized in areas outside of these typical content changes or product management type things. And then going hand in hand with this, a streamlined platform that puts the management capabilities of, let's say, products, promotions, coupons, etc., into non-technical resources can provide overall efficiencies within your organization. And this is especially true when search engine optimization strategies are tied directly toward product categorization and product descriptions. So improvements in online merchandising is one of the highest value areas for retailers in order to convert browsing into sales. According to a Forrester report, focusing on efforts that place products more effectively throughout a website and present features in a more engaging way, retailers can drive conversions that dramatically affect overall sales. So at a very high level, overall techniques in this area include more product imagery or zooming or color options, as well as even streaming video for product demonstrations. The same Forrester study found that the most commonly used online feature in modern e-commerce site was underutilized, and that's the search capability. 54% retailers surveyed currently utilize site search within their e-commerce. But on the flip side, that means that more than a third of the retailers still don't have good site search functionality within their e-commerce site. And quite frankly, site search is one of the most highly utilized features of any website, including e-commerce. Website performance is also an important value opportunity for retailers. According to a new study by Forrester, 2 seconds is the new threshold in terms of an average online shopper's expectation for a web page load. And 40% of the shoppers will wait no longer than 3 seconds before abandoning a retail site. Additional findings indicate that quick page loading is a key factor in a consumer's loyalty to an e-commerce site, especially for the high-end spenders. 79% of the online shoppers who experience a dissatisfying visit are less likely to buy from the same site again, and 27% are less likely to buy from the same site's physical store. And that basically suggests that the impact of a bad online experience will reach beyond the website and result in lost store sales. Also, a very high proportion of e-commerce professionals said that they plan to leverage at least one emerging technology in 2010. And this includes rich media, mobile marketing, and social media. According to recent studies, all 3 of these do have high rates of usage among marketers. However, social media, things like blogs and Facebook and user communities, is by far the most popular of these 3. And then finally, there are various payment options that are offered by various online merchant platforms so that these e-commerce sites can easily accept payments from their customers. And accommodating these various preferences of the shoppers has become increasingly important recently. When e-commerce sites conveniently collect payments through different payment options, obviously the possibility of selling more and more products online will also increase. Okay, so now that we looked at the highest value opportunities, let's take a look at some of the improvements made in e-commerce technologies. Okay, so a little bit of history first. 10 years ago, there was an interesting Gartner study which they did on e-commerce sites, and they found that the average cost of developing and launching an e-commerce enterprise site was $1 million. The report also finds that the cost of building an e-commerce site will increase 25% annually during the next 2 years. This was 10 years ago again. And then 79% of the total cost, so 79% of the total cost was labor alone. And the individuals who were part of this study also said that everything involved in the process of constructing an e-commerce site was much more complicated than expected, including the amount of time and money. Now, some of the companies spent less than $350,000 on their sites, but others spent more than $2 million. And regardless of the cost, no survey participant 10 years ago claimed that their project was on budget. That same study that was done 10 years ago found that the average time to complete an e-commerce site was 5 months, although some sites took more than a year to launch. And then on the average, most corporations use 2 or more external firms, in most cases including a nationally recognized media firm as well as local system integrators in an effort to control cost. But after all this was said and done, survey participants found that they did not get almost everything they needed from their e-commerce application vendor. And then the final point that Gartner study highlighted was that one of the most challenges 10 years ago was that the current state of an e-commerce site would become outdated in just a couple of months. Okay, so let's fast forward 10 years ago to today, and things obviously have certainly changed dramatically. E-commerce solutions have become much more robust, and the features that would have taken months for a software development team to test, implement, and ultimately roll out now come out of the box. Additionally, these solutions keep up to date on the latest trends and marketing tactics, which improve the user experience and also drive sales. So according to a most recent Gartner study, unless you are a market leader, such as Amazon or eBay, custom development of commodity items such as shopping carts, search, product merchandising, etc., would be likely a wasted effort today because it really doesn't provide a differentiated online experience for your customers. So in short, IT departments should invest on creating their own applications for basic e-commerce functions, since those can be implemented at a lower cost through off-the-shelf solutions today. Okay, so we've talked a lot about features of e-commerce sites, which range from basic shopping cart processes to merchandising and category management. So let's take a look at some of the most recent must-have features for 2010. Okay, so this list is not in any particular ranking order, but let's start out with search engine optimization. And I'm sure everybody involved here knows that search engine optimization is getting a lot of attention in the past few years, and we could probably devote an entire webinar just on this subject alone. But at the core, you want to make sure that your e-commerce solution will provide you with control over your own title tags, meta tag descriptions, and keywords, so that you can easily optimize at will this content for search engines. And then you'll also want to make sure that your solution automatically generates keyword-rich URLs, or some people call this as friendly URLs, based on your product and your category names. And then finally, it should also generate page code that's XHTML 1.0 strict compliant. And PCI compliance is another wide area that really kind of encompasses not only a software solution, but looks at the network infrastructure policies within your organization or your hosting provider. Currently, the card industry mandates that any merchant or organization or software that processes, stores, or disseminates credit card data must be PCI DSS compliant, or they risk heavy fines. Or potentially, they could lose the ability to process cards altogether, thus putting obviously your entire business in jeopardy. And obviously, this is just more than a nice to have because it's being mandated, and there is a deadline set to be compliant. The concept of upselling is essential because it's offering customers a product that is of greater value than the product that they're currently considering, or adding options or features to the product that they're buying in an attempt to increase spend. And then cross-selling refers to selling items that are complementary to the item that they're purchasing. These marketing tactics obviously provide benefits to both the users of the site as well as you as the merchant because of the potential increase in revenue. So making sure that you have a solution that accommodates these marketing techniques with a simple setup is critical in 2010. And then also being able to set up flexible pricing features quickly and easy is another must-have for 2010. These pricing options include promotional pricing, wholesale or retail pricing, affiliate pricing, or accepting coupons, or maybe even quantity-based pricing. This type of flexibility brings attention to your products and ultimately increases product sales. So solid analytics and accurate reporting is extremely important today. In order to accurately monitor your e-commerce business, you need to make sure, if you're not doing so already, that you integrate your solution with a web analytics tool, for example, Google Analytics. Most of these tools provide real-time site and search ranking capabilities, as well as reporting on product performance, or potentially shopping cart abandon rates. And then if you're currently shipping products, you'll want to consider integrating with major shipping providers such as UPS or FedEx. And potentially, you want the ability to mark up shipping rates by a percentage or maybe a flat amount so that you have the option of charging transparent handling fees. Product feed support. This is one of the most productive ways you can increase your online sales by submitting a product feed to some of the major shopping sites. A product feed is basically a data file that contains information and links to all your products. And when you submit a feed, your product will appear on exclusive shopping sites like Google's product search, for example. This is an easy way to gain more exposure and increase your traffic to your overall store. Gift certificates and wish lists are two features that played a huge role in holiday sales and conversions last year. According to a recent study, 64% of those surveyed said that gift certificates equal 25% of their online purchases. And 50% of the shoppers that were surveyed said that they shopped using someone else's wish list, which is some pretty compelling numbers. So given just the success of these features, you want to be sure that your e-commerce solution provides online gift certificates as well as a wish list feature set. And then finally, interestingly enough, product reviews are a very powerful product marketing tool. And there's been a lot of discussion about the benefits of product reviews, but research shows that even a bad product review will help sell more products than not showing reviews at all. So given this, it's important that your e-commerce solution provides the capability to post product reviews for each of the products that you sell. But if you're concerned, let's say, about the negative review or just maybe some bad information, garbage information that's posted by an anonymous individual, you want to make sure that your solution allows you to review those reviews and approve them before they're posted on the website. Okay, so we've talked a lot about the high-level features as well as some value-added things to incorporate within your e-commerce site today. So let's see these in action. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Teresa Lesquez, a consulting manager here at Done Solutions Group, who will be doing the demonstration today. Teresa?
Thanks, Brett. I'm really excited to show you and everyone what we've developed so far. We've taken many of the key elements from Brett's discussion and created a sample website in order to walk you through what we've implemented. So to put things in perspective, this whole working sample site was developed in under 30 days for under $50,000 with all the features that you're going to see here. A few years ago, as Brett mentioned, this would have been a huge, expensive e-commerce project. We built this working sample site to show you how today's e-commerce solutions offer the cost-effective, out-of-the-box technologies you need to utilize the best practices of the top retailers. So I'm going to do this demo fairly quickly so we can make sure that we have enough time at the end for all your questions. We're also going to follow the roadmap that Brett laid out and the recommendations that he made. So one of the first things Brett talked about regarding the challenges of building and maintaining e-commerce sites was catalog structure. So let me show you my store. As you can see, we've defined 6 different categories which appear on the left. Now, if you select one of these categories, you can see the subcategories we've defined as well. So here you can see I have additional subcategories within my camera camcorder category. Now, if I switch over to the admin site, I can show you how easy this is to configure. You can see on the left-hand side the categories that I've set up. In the middle, you can see each individual category, and you can see that we can change the orders that the categories appear. We can preview the site from here. We can make categories visible to the public or hide them if we're not using them at the moment. We can edit the categories from this point, and we can also remove the categories at this point. We can also add new categories very easily just by entering new catalog. And then we can also add items to the categories at this point as well. From here, also, if I click on a category, you can see the subcategories I've defined. So they're very easy to add and manage at this point. Now, another thing that Brett talked about regarding the challenges of keeping up with a rapidly changing market and buyer needs, one of the top challenges he mentioned was the ability to manage your products online. So I'm going to go back to my store just to show you the products that I have defined. Here you can see all the products I have in my cameras, camcorder category. So if I switch back to my catalog and drill down into a subcategory, again, using the same layout with the category management, you can see all of the products I have defined. And it works the same way as managing your categories. You can change the order of the products that are displayed. You can preview the products at this point. You can make them visible or hide them on your website. You can edit from this point or remove the products. And you can also copy a product. So say maybe you have iPods with some different space requirements. You could enter one and then make copies of it and then just change the details instead of having to enter each one at a time. So now if I select a product to edit, you'll see that I can enter the name and the price. And there's some pretty cool features here. For example, here you see it lists all of the manufacturers I've already have defined, so I can just pick and choose my new manufacturer. Otherwise, if I have somebody that's not in the list, I can very easily add it by clicking New, except my pop-up is on. Hang on. If I click New, you'll see that a window pops up and allows me to add a new manufacturer name to my list. So you see there's other information I can enter as well, display options. Do I want this item to display to the public? What type of page do I want to use? Do I want to have custom pages for specific objects, products? I can also enter my tax and shipping information as well as my inventory control. And if we look on the left, there are other items I can configure as well. One I'd like to point out are the images and assets. Here you can see I can define different images for whichever type of display I'm using. So maybe I'm using smaller icons in a list view, maybe full-size images on the product page. So you can see it's very easy to manage the products that I've defined. So one of the highest value opportunities for the consumer that Brett mentioned was the ability to improve your search and browse capabilities. I'm going to switch back to my store. Now there's a couple different ways that your shoppers can search. The first way is they can just enter a search value at the top and click search, and it will bring you back related items. Another thing you can do is use something that we call the product finder. The product finder gives you multiple different ways to search through the products in your store. So for example, you see that I can narrow products I'm looking for by category. I can narrow them by manufacturer. I can narrow them by price. These are all easily configurable on the store site, but it gives your users options for different ways that they want to search. Now the same search capabilities are available on your admin site. So if you're managing your site, there are search options so you can get to your products and then go in to the product detail and edit them as well. Another area that Brett spent some time discussing were the areas that retailers see value in website technologies. Two of the areas that he mentioned were product recommendations and product reviews. So first, let's talk a little bit about upselling and cross-selling. I'm going to go back to my store. I'm going to search on a product. I'm going to select my product, and you can see I have my product. And you'll see it also shows me more items that are similar to my product. So here's one opportunity for you to upsell to your consumer. Now say I select one of these products, you'll see here's another opportunity for an upsell or a cross-sell. I have different items defined that are related to the product that I've just selected. Now this is very easy to manage as well. If I go back to my store and find the product that we just searched on, you'll see on the left-hand side there's an option for similar products where you can identify items that are similar to what the user searched on, and you can also define product accessories. So this is where you see the other 3 items that came up when I placed the product I selected in my cart. So very easy to configure and manage that aspect of the tool. The other thing we talked about were product reviews. If I go to my site and I do a search, I can select a product, you'll see that if I scroll down, this is where I can display reviews that users have entered. Now, as Brett mentioned, you might want to have the ability to control who can post a review on your site, or maybe have the ability to review the actual reviews users have entered before they appear. So you can do that in your store very easily. If I go to Configure Product Reviews, you'll see I can enable product reviews for all users or only registered users. I can also set up whether an approval is required before a user will see their review on the site, and then the different ways that we can implement the verification. We can use image verification, where you type in a certain string of characters in order to have your review posted. We can also set up email verification, so maybe the user has to receive an email and click on a specific link in order to have that review posted. So there are different ways you can configure product reviews so you can ensure that quality reviews are being posted to your site. Brett also identified the top 10 e-commerce features for 2010. We've talked about a few of them, but I'd like to showcase a few more. Brett mentioned flexible pricing management. So I'm going to bring up an item that has different prices associated with the color of the product that you select. So in this case, depending on what color camera you select, the price might change. In this case, the gray camera is $149.99. The blue camera may be a higher demand. It's a little pricier, $199. And the orange camera, maybe we have too many of those and we're trying to unload them, so maybe the price is $99.99. So it's very easy to configure this in your site as well. I'm going to go back to my admin site and find my camera product. And then here I have an option on the left for options and variants. As you can see, I've defined a variant named color, and it shows my different option choices. If I just click on the notepad, you can see here I can change the order of the different colors of my camera. And here under price, I configured the blue camera to have a $50 premium over the standard price of the product, and the orange camera to have a $50 discount. So it's easy to manage for the different color options, and here you can also define different weights, attach different images for the product. So very easy to manage in your admin site. The next thing Brett mentioned was analytics and reporting. There are different options available regarding analytics out of the box. The first is page tracking. So I'm going to go to Configure Page Tracking. Now, the page tracking feature will record all the activity by any user accessing your store or merchant administration tool. The records are initially stored in a database, and then they can be archived to disk when regular maintenance is performed. Now, when you enable tracking, you can see statistics about what categories and products are being viewed, pages that are referring to you, technical data like the user's IP, their browser, their operating system. So all of this is stored in a database, and again, you can archive it. When the log files are archived, they're written to a disk in extended log file format. This means that the log files are compatible with most statistical reporting software programs that convert the raw data into something more meaningful. So the other benefit of using page tracking is on the customer side. If it's enabled in your store, your customers will be able to see the recently reviewed items. Now the second item you can set up is Google Analytics, which Brett had mentioned. Now this is one of many business solutions available from Google, which allows you to analyze your website traffic using easy-to-understand reports. This helps you attract more of the traffic you're looking for, and it also helps you turn more visitors into customers. The service is free to all advertisers, publishers, and site owners. Now all you need to set up Google Analytics is a Google Urchin ID. Once you have it, it will allow you to configure the page tracking in your site. And you can also configure Ecommerce Tracking, which will help you track additional sales data that can be used by Google Analytics or Google AdWords. These tools allow you to set up online campaigns to track the advertising dollars spent, cost per clicks, and conversion rates. Besides analytics, there are also reporting options available. The first is your merchant dashboard. The dashboard gives you a quick summary of what's going on in your store. It can show you product popularity by sales, by views. It can show you sales over time, page views over time, popular product categories. It can also show you a summary of your orders, so you can see the status of all your orders, and you can drill down into your orders to the order manager, and here you can select other search criteria in order to find the orders you want to look at. If I go back to my dashboard, there's also a cool thing called My Alerts. My Alert section shows you what potential problems you might have in your store, from low inventory to missing shipping or payment configurations. This is also customizable through your browser, so you can add additional features or remove features you're not using. There are also reports available based on sales, products, customers, marketing. So here, product popularity by views. You can see which products are viewed most often and how many times they're viewed. One more thing Brett talked about was integrated shipping providers. There's different shipping gateways. Using this option will allow your customers to get accurate real-time shipping rates from one or more shipping services. So to set that up, if I go to Configure, Shipping, Integrated Carriers, right now I have no carriers defined, but I can select Add Carrier, and you can see out of the box the carriers that are supported. So all you need is an account with one of these carriers. I'm going to pick FedEx, for example. Once you register for an account with them, they'll provide you with different services that you can enable and configure individually. So, for example, different shipping zones, different shipping warehouses, the taxes, handling fees, minimum order amounts. This way there won't be any question about whether a service is available to a given destination, because it's automatically determined when your customer checks out. Your products are also checked for dimensions and weight, and any overweight or oversized shipments can be quoted separately. After ordering, your customers can then view their shipment tracking information for their packages right from the store website. Brett also mentioned product feed support. Well, one of the most productive ways to increase your sales online is through a product feed uploaded to one of the major online shopping sites. A product feed is simply a data file that contains information and links to all of your products. This is an easy way to gain more exposure and increase traffic to your store. Now, feeds are available out of the box for Google Base, Yahoo Shopping, and Shopping.com. All you need to do is select which service you'd like to use. You need to register your data feed with the one you select and then upload your feed file. Now, the Google-based feeds are provided as a free service, and then Yahoo Shopping and Shopping.com are paid services. We also talked about the gift certificate and wish list features for your store. Wish lists, I'm very fond of using. It's a great way to let people know, what you're interested in if someone's about to buy you a gift. In this case, on my camera, you can see that instead of adding it to my cart, I can just add it to my wish list. Once it's added to my wish list, you can see how many are requested, priority. Maybe you want to put a couple things on your wish list and rank the order that you want them. Enter a comment. Then from here, you can either leave it in your wish list, or you can, if you decide, hey, I'm not going to wait, I'm going to buy it for myself, you can just add it to the cart from here as well. We also talked about gift certificates. So again, available out of the box, very easy to configure. If I go to my admin site, you'll see that I set up some gift certificates for users to purchase. So again, just like adding a category and adding a product, you identify the types of gift certificates you want to offer. A customer is then able to purchase one of those gift certificates through your store. Once the customer has purchased a gift certificate, you activate it and it will appear in their account for their use, and it will also appear on the management site under Manage Gift Certificates. So here you can see someone's purchased a gift certificate, and I've activated, so there's a serial number available for the user. The user can then use this gift certificate during checkout. So let me add this to my cart. I'm going to say checkout now. And since I have a gift certificate available, you'll see that gift certificate appears under payment method. And if I select it, I can just enter my gift certificate number and use that as my form of payment. The last thing I'm going to touch on, since we're running out of time, is search engine friendliness. So let me go back to my admin site. A couple of options. Bring up a product. So when I'm defining my product, I'm going to scroll down. You'll see there are a couple different things I can set up. Here in my HTML header, I can identify my keywords, so items that users will search on that will help you find your products. You can also, what's kind of cool, set up keywords for your store site. So in case maybe a user is searching for an iPod and they accidentally type in iPod or have common misspellings, the item will still come up when they do the search. Then we also have, if you look at the product name that I set up, Apple iPod Touch, 8 GB MP3 player. If you look at my store, you'll see the title appears. The title also appears in the header. And then you can see in my URL, it's user-friendly, Apple iPod Touch, 8 GB MP3 player. Again, right out of the box, I didn't have to do any custom coding in order to set up that URL alias for my product. So that concludes our demo. Again, once the software is configured, you don't need to be a programmer to make changes to the information or the categories, uploading your products, setting up upsells or cross-sells. And this is very important because flexibility to the market and your competition will allow you to capture more sales. So that's all I have. Now I'll give the presentation back to Tim.
Thank you, Teresa. Let me get my screen up here too. Now we're going to answer questions. Please enter them in the questions panel on the right-hand side of the screen, and please stand by while I go through them to choose the ones that are of interest to everyone. Let's see. I've lost my questions panel. Here we go. All right. Actually, this is for you, Teresa. Can reviews be found by search engines with the solution we're using? Teresa?
I had to unmute my phone. Yes, I believe I can. I know that Brett may be a little more familiar with the search function on those reviews, but from my understanding, it is something that can be configured.
I agree with Teresa.
Hey, you know what, Brett? We skipped something for you. We need to hand it back off to you. Well, actually, we won't hand it back off. We will stay right where we are. Let's put questions on hold. People can still enter them, but you have a slide you wanted to talk about here.
Yeah, I'll wrap that up at the very end.
Oh, okay. All right, we'll do it that way. Next question is, Oh, what platform did you use to build that demo site? We never said.
So we're using a tool called Ecommerce. It's all built utilizing .NET Technologies 3.5 framework. The reason why we like Ecommerce is for a couple different reasons. First and foremost, everything that you saw in Teresa's demonstration today pretty much comes out of the box with the solution. But one of the other reasons why we like it a lot too is because it's essentially a platform. So it's very easy to build customizations on top of it because it has a rich set of APIs that can be utilized. And obviously, since it's built on .NET Technologies, it provides easy type of integration between your back office system. So, I mean, it would be pretty premature for us to just say that you have an e-commerce solution and that's your whole business. You probably also have, a back office solution to do fulfillment, maybe CRM type capabilities. So integrating Ecommerce with your back office solutions, whatever those may be, is actually something that's very achievable using this solution.
All right. Okay, let's see. Well, so this is a global question. So using that platform, who does what, ideally? Teresa I know, got on that a little bit. What does IT need to do? What does the marketing people, what are the tasks the marketing people need to do? What does a company like Done Solutions do if you're implementing the solution?
So I can handle probably I'll handle the first half, and then I'll have Teresa kind of handle the second half, which is what can be maintained moving forward. So Done Solutions being an IT consulting group, what we would do is take a look at your whole business problem, right, around e-commerce, and then we would develop a solution around that using Ecommerce as a tool. We would do the site design, we would do the layout, we would work with you to do things like product presentation. We would do integration to your back office solution if there is any. We would also build any type of customizations on top of the platform, which would then enable you moving forward to administer those types of customizations. So on the other side, what Teresa demonstrated was really the ongoing maintenance of the site. So once you have the layout, once you have the skin, once you have the features and functionality that have been built in the application, the back office solution or the administration side of it really will be something that will enable you as a business leader, whether you're in marketing or whether you're in product setup and configuration side of it, will allow you to basically maintain it moving forward.
Yep, Teresa, you need to clean up the back end of that.
I agree with everything that Brett said. Again, you saw through the demo just some quick things you could do to add more categories, products, upselling. Very easy to maintain. We can also, help you set that up as well. Show you this is how you add products. This is how you set up a product feed, or this is how you set up your shipping. We can also help you with that if you feel a little less comfortable until you kind of get a better feel for it. But it's very easy to maintain. I think pretty much anybody from your marketing staff to your admin staff could easily pick up how to manage your store once the solution has been implemented.
All right, Brad, here you go. If you had to choose just a few capabilities, which ones would you deploy first? Which ones are which ones are the most important right now?
So I think I would do two things, really. Obviously, it's getting the people to your store is probably the first and foremost solution or problem that you have to solve. So with that, I would actually work on some of the search engine optimization features that you can build into the solution to make sure that it's optimized and then people are actually getting to your store. Now, once people get to your store, I think it's very important that the usability of the store is very easy to use. And like we talked about during the demonstration, that it accommodates the different types of users that are going to be hitting your store. What are their shopping preferences? What are the key drivers that they have that will really enable them to shop and ultimately purchase a product? Teresa actually demonstrated a couple of those on the product finder side. So we talked a little bit about personalization. That's a good example of personalization because based on whatever their factors are for purchasing a product, whether it be the brand name, which Teresa demonstrated, or maybe pricing considerations. If whatever those preferences are for the shopper, we want to accommodate those in the site. So I think that that's the overall usability, and also making it personalized to the type of personas that are hitting your site are very important.
Okay, I have one more here. Can you use video in the product pages?
Absolutely. In fact, there was actually an example of using video in our in one of the products that we have. There's a product demonstration, and we actually have a little small demonstration of that. In fact, you want
me to switch it over so Teresa can show that?
Sure.
Okay, here we go. Teresa, you're back on the...
Okay, off the top of my head, I can't remember which product we have it configured for. Let me just see if I can do a quick search. This might be the product. Here, this is where we'd have it set up. You can implement, this example is just a YouTube video, but you can implement other types of videos. I'll click play. I don't think I have the video loaded, so unfortunately it's been removed. But if it were there, you could add a video so you could see maybe, in this case, the video game example, you could see some screen movement that might help you identify, is this age appropriate? Maybe I want to buy this game for my nephew, but I don't know if it's a shoot 'em up game or if it's appropriate for him. Maybe if I could see some video, I could tell, on top of reading the reviews that are available. So it's just another feature to kind of help your user determine whether or not this looks interesting to them, or it's something that would help differentiate whether they purchase the product.
All right, you could also use it for product demonstrations. You could use it for how-to, right? You could use it for anything.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Sorry about that. I took us to a dead video, but we'll move on. Actually, that's all the questions we have. If anybody else has another question, answer it now. We'll pause for a minute. Otherwise, we'll let Brett do his last slide, and then I'll come back and say something. I'm not even sure right now. So.
Yeah, okay, great, Tim. So as Tim mentioned before, Done Solutions Group, we're a full-service IT consulting firm with expertise working with companies to reduce overhead, operating expenses, really by implementing software solutions that add value to your business. So with that, we follow a very strict software methodology focusing on solving your business problem. So we'll work with you to review your business processes within your organization and determine the best case or return on investment for implementing an e-commerce solution. We have experienced individuals who can document the current processes within your organization and design the appropriate solution, whether it be e-commerce or anything else. As well, we also have individuals who can build the software solution, test, and deploy the solution within your environment. We have a lot of experience in e-commerce. We've implemented many Ecommerce sites over the course of the last couple of years. We've implemented 3 with one company alone, and we're well on our way to implementing a few more within the next couple of months here. So we're very familiar with the product, and we'll work with you to make sure that it's a good solution for you in your organization, and you can maintain it moving forward. So that concludes my presentation.
All right, we actually have one more question. It's very easy to answer. Is the video out of the box, the video capability out of the box? And the answer is, Brett?
That was a small customization that we did, although, like I said before, we utilized a lot of the APIs that come with the Ecommerce and implemented it on the page and also within the administration side as well.
All right. Looks like we don't have any more questions, so I think because we're a little over time, I'm going to wrap this up. So that ends the question and answer segment and the webinar. Thank you for joining us today. Look in your inbox for the presentation soon. We'll send that later today. And also, we'll send you a link for a recording of the webinar sometime in the next day or so. It'll be available via our website. Also, keep an eye peeled for invitations to other upcoming live seminars and webinars. Thank you for joining us today. We hope to see you soon online or in person. Goodbye now.